If you know anyone that works for Grubhub or Uber Eats or DoorDash, or maybe they are truckers, carpenters, plumbers, anyone that classified as a gig worker. If that's you, you're going to want to watch this video because gig work can be coming to an end very, very soon. Joe Biden just put a bill in place and it went into effect March 11th that basically allows an end to all gig workers. So instead of working on your own time and actually making all of the money that you can possibly make doing tips, you might have to go down to a basic minimum wage salary for the same type of work. Guys, in today's video, I'm going to explain step by step on what this means and how this will affect 80 million Americans. Guys, stay tuned. Welcome back to the channel, guys. If you're new to the channel, I'm Credit Coach Q, and I create the first cloud-based software that allows you to put your credit repair experience in your own hands. If you're new to the channel, I'm super excited because I have a banger. In today's video, we're going to talk about gig work and how it can be coming to an end. But before we get into the video, guys, please like and subscribe to the channel. It allows you to push this content to a wider audience and allows us to leave the lights on. Guys, please like and subscribe to the channel. If you have anything derogatory in your credit report, I mean anything negative, charge-offs, late payments, bankruptcies, medical bills, guys, you name it, please go over to mycreditapproved.com. It's the website and the software that I was telling you about that allows you to put the full experience to your own hands. Guys, people are removing thousands of dollars worth of debt by themselves. They are no longer using credit repair companies. They are putting this information in this experience into their own hands and appreciating on a deeper level. Guys, please go to mycreditapproved.com, check out the software and start removing these items, guys, if you have anything derogatory on your credit report. Now, let's dive straight into the meat and potatoes of this video, guys. This video is very interesting because I know a lot of people are working doing DoorDash, Uber, things like that. They like the freedom of it and they like the money potential. They can make a lot of money in their free time just by, you know, driving a car. A lot of people just like the freedom of being able to be gig workers. And the Department of Labor is not really doing well when it comes to classifying who is an independent contractor and who is a actual employee. Now, they have listed 6 different ways you could be classified as an employee versus an independent contractor, and it's going to affect on the 11th. Now, it is pros and cons to this. From what I've heard, some people think that this is the best thing since sliced bread. Most people think that this is a disaster waiting to happen. Now, like I said, 80 million Americans is going to be affected by this outcome, and this is kind of scary. Actually, the article is saying that the U.S. Department of Labor on Tuesday issued a final rule that will force companies to treat some workers as employees rather than less expensive independent contractors, in a move that has riled business groups and will likely prompt legal challenges. The rule is widely expected to increase labor costs for businesses and industries that rely on contract labor or freelancers such as trucking, manufacturing, healthcare, and app-based gig services. So, as you can see, guys, the Department of Labor is not joking around and they want to classify everyone that's supposed to be an independent worker under that criteria, and if you are an actual employee, they want you to be classified as that as well. It also says most federal and state labor laws, such as those requiring minimum wage and overtime pay, apply only to companies' employees. Studies suggest that employees can cost companies up to 30% more than independent contracts. Now, this is going to start a ripple effect when it comes to these companies. It's going to allow these companies be over leveraged, and they're going to basically have to subsidize the employment rate because they're not going to be able to afford to take on all of these independent contractors and revert them to actual employees that have salaries and have health care and insurance and things like that. They're not going to be able to do that and still have the same successful business model. So what is that going to do for the companies? In my opinion, I think the companies are going to be forced into an AI model, business model going forward. I think that they're going to be basically forced to put everything on autopilot and replace and complement the employees for robots that can do the same thing for limited pay. Well, almost no pay, because you don't have to pay for insurance, healthcare, salaries, anything. You don't have to worry about, HR and none of that. All you have to do is hire an engineer to monitor the bots, and they can do the same thing that you're doing. And this is going to be a ripple effect. Now, I also want to note that the state of California, I've already did a trial run on a model similar to this one, and I think it's called Proper 22 or something like that. And the business model is basically allowing Californians to already be subjected to this type of change when it comes to gig workers. And this is what they have to say. Take a look.
This is the beginning of the end of worker protections.
Prop 22 is probably the most dangerous labor law that has been passed or voted on in my lifetime.
I'm very disappointed.
Some full-time drivers like myself are doing, I think, something like 90% of the rides.
It's going to be hard to survive.
This is so important, guys, because if you take a look at what has happened in California after the passage of Prop 22, you can really understand and grasp how disastrous this Trump-era rule would have been for workers across the country.
He says that Proposition 22 will make it impossible to earn a living driving full-time.
They're trying to push it down into a minimum wage job. You should get paid by tips.
He's right about that. And unfortunately, after Prop 22 passed, many of the drivers who were promised all sorts of perks and benefits found themselves getting quite the opposite. Well, under this law, Uber gets to avoid paying their workers when they do not have someone in their vehicle. So if they're on the road looking for someone to give a ride to, they're not getting paid for that.
Now, guys, as you can see, they don't look too happy when it comes to how everyone is appropriating these type of changes when it comes to gig workers. Now, I know a lot of people is upset because they are saying that the government is trying to put everyone into a lower bracket by allowing them to only make minimum wage when, like the guy said, they were making money off tips. And the tips can really fluctuate. You can really make a lot of money with tips, depending on areas, depending on your clientele, depending on how you actually hustle. But when you are in one uniform bracket when it comes to these type of opportunities, you're not going to be able to make the same type of money potentially. And you're just going to have to be in the same set amount of money doing the exact same thing, and it's just going to frustrate a lot of people. Obviously, people are not making the same type of money with this business model in place in California, and I think that it's going to be the same nationwide as well. Now, the pros that people are saying about this is that they are able to get health care, they're able to get workers' comp, they can potentially make some overtime, and they can get a minimum base salary and also get potential insurance within the company. So it allows you to actually get a little bit more stability when it comes to this bill, outside of just having to pay for all of your health care and being dependent on your own extra money, which is coming from the tips, to pay for those situations like insurance and health care and things like that. So this is the 6-figure test that they are basically saying that they need in order for you to be successful and decide whether you are on the side of an independent contractor or versus whether you are on the side of an employee. So this is called the economic reality test, and it says the economic reality test uses multiple factors to see if an employment relationship exists under the FLSA. The goal of the test is to decide if the worker is economically dependent on the employer for work or instead in business for themselves. So that means basically if your only form of job is Uber and you're depending on it, they might put you in the classification of an actual employee. But if you are a person that work for different applications, if you work for Uber and also delegated to Lyft, and you work for different companies, you're not having your whole lifestyle primarily focused on one entity, then you can separate yourself. So it also says all the factors should be considered. No single factor determines a worker's status, and no one factor or combination of factors are more important than the other factors. Instead, the totality of the circumstances of the working relationship should be considered. The following factors discussed more below should guide the assessment of whether a worker is an employee under the FLSA or independent contractor in business for themselves. So the first one is the opportunity for profit or loss depending on managerial skill. Number 2, it says investments by the worker in the employer. Number 3 is the permanence of the work relationship. Number 4 is the nature and degree of control, like I said before. Number 5 is whether the work outperformed the integral to the employer's business and skill and initiative. It just says and. It just stopped with and. I don't know how that works, but and number 6 is skill and initiative. So basically, guys, you have to follow and to be under all of these guidelines to basically fit which bubble and which direction that you are in. This is going to be very dramatic for these type of work, man. Like if you are a trucker, because I know they are independent contractors. If you are a plumber, or if you are an electrician, like they hire all independent contractors, and if they have to go to a base salary and they're not going to be able to write their own destiny, it really takes away, and it's really, unfortunate if you ask me. Also, so they do have pros, like I said, that you can get insurance. Guys, let me know in the comment section, do you think that this is something that the nation is going to respond well to, or do you think that this is something that we honestly do not need? Let me know in the comment section, guys. I always respond to the comments. If you need anything repaired on your credit, guys, go to mycreditapproved.com and get your items taken care of there. Guys, until next time, take care of yourself and take care of your credit. Credit Coach Q out. Peace.